Lovely. Welcome, friends. Come join us live on the Insight Timer app to be part of this live discussion if you wish. There you are. Hello. Hi, my friends. Great to see you. The chat is always slow these days. Hi, Judy. Hi, Nicole. So there's always a delay there. Hey, Wolfgang. Hey, Brad. Great to see you. Thank you for getting that out of the way. Hi, Cindy. We will wait just maybe a minute for more of our community to join. Thank you all for being here. Hi, Michi. Oh, I've been running around today, so taking a moment to pause, slow down so we can be together in this space. All right. Welcome. Great. Hey, Liz. Wonderful. Well, why don't we start with the centering technique today? For anyone who's never experienced this technique, maybe before we do that, why don't I give a little intro for anyone who's new? First of all, extra warm welcome to anyone who's here for the first time. My name is Selena Layel. I lead live sessions each week on the app, although we will be missing February 6th through 13th, no live sessions that week. However, I do have so much pre-recorded content. You can just go to my profile page. We also have a group, Love Heals All, a place for us to connect as community, to be together, to support each other, inspire each other, have a shoulder to cry on. And I also have a 10-day course, Yogic Practices for a Peaceful Life. So let us move into the centering technique. This is an ancient yogic technique. You don't need to have any specific background or religion to engage in these practices. They're open to all. If you can move your body, I invite you to bring your hands together at the heart. And if you can't move your body, that's okay. You can just imagine this in your mind if you wish. If you're familiar with this technique, I invite you to close the eyes. If it's new, you can keep the eyes open, kind of watch what my body's doing as much as we can see in this camera angle here. And speaking of camera angles, I have this on the widescreen view. So if you're seeing a really up close and personal picture of me and you're on a smaller device, you might find it nice. You can also see some of the beautiful background. If you're able to turn your device or maybe even change devices to have the widescreen view. Brad, I love the snow, so enjoy shoveling it. I was on the mainland a few weeks ago and I had a good day of shoveling snow. Let me tell you this though, before I move into the centering technique. We had forgotten that the snow shovel was broken and that we didn't have it anymore. So I had a broom. I was out there with my brother brooming like a foot of snow. It was fun. It actually was fun. Okay, centering technique. Hands are at the heart. Sit nice and tall. And I invite everyone to join in this. Inhale your right arm straight up. Your fingers point up toward the sky. Maybe straighten the elbow. The left hand comes down by the navel, but the fingers stay upward. Exhale very slowly. Take your time. We're training ourselves to breathe more fully. Bring your hands all the way back to the heart. Feel your palms touching and your thumbs against your sternum. Inhale the left arm all the way up. Straighten the elbow if you can. Right hand comes down, but the fingers point up. Exhale, really take your time here. Slow breath all the way back to the heart. Inhale, right arm all the way up, left arm down, but fingers point up. Exhale slowly. Last time, inhale the left arm all the way up. Exhale slowly. Palms touch at the heart. Close the eyes. Relax your shoulders and your arms. Take a slow, deep breath in. Pause for just a moment. Exhale through the nose. Inhale deeply. You may even feel like you're breathing into your heart. Pause and hold the breath for a moment. Exhale. And take one more breath like this. Inhale slowly. Belly and chest expand with the inhale. Pause and hold the breath. Relax the shoulders. Exhale slowly. Relax your hands down on your lap. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Feel your chest more open. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply. Feel your body making contact with the support beneath you. Bring your awareness to your heart center, the space in the center of the chest. And again, imagine that the breath is moving in and out of the heart, your energetic heart. The space of the heart is being nourished with breath, softened. And whatever you're feeling today is okay. It's all welcome here. You are fully welcome. Imagine you are now listening to your heart. What wisdom or messages does your heart have to share with you in this moment? Maybe it's a message of what you need to do to take care of yourself, or a question you have, or curiosity in your life. Or maybe you're seeing images of a specific situation that is calling for healing. Imagine you're able to hear your heart speaking to you in this moment. Our time together today is specifically a heart-centered discussion for us to bring our questions and curiosities and our wisdom to share with one another. So if there's any question or any experience that you've been sitting with from this space of the heart, let that start to come to the surface, come to your awareness. It may have to do with your romantic relationship or your relationship to your body or your thoughts, your emotions. Maybe it's an inquiry within yourself about your relationship to spirit source, God, self. Maybe it's just a longing feeling inside, a longing for something different, for something more, for freedom, peace. Listen. Slowly move your hands and place your palms over your heart. No matter what is happening in your mind or your emotions or your body in this moment, feel this connection, this presence of you, and maybe even a little comfort just holding your heart for this next breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. I feel like I could just sit in silence with you today. Sit in this richness of stillness, love. We're here today, though, to chat, aren't we? So, my friends, what is present for you in our conversation today, in this discussion, heart-centered discussion? I know many of you have questions that you ask me in other sessions during the chat that I don't see, or maybe we just don't have enough time to get to everyone's questions or comments. So please feel free to share any of those. Or if there's just something that you feel you'd like some support with from myself, from our community, you can share that. Or maybe you just have something you've been contemplating and you don't need any advice or guidance and you're just wanting to kind of share in community and satsang, as we could say, coming together in truth to share as the sovereign beings that we are. Natalie's has dropped something in the chat. How do we find hope when everything feels so hopeless right now? How to draw with pandemic exhaustion. I'm not sure if I understand that part, my love. How to draw. Maybe like how to move forward or how to shift with pandemic. How to deal. Thank you, love. How to deal with pandemic exhaustion, isolation, grief for all that we've lost over the past 2 years. Let's start right here. Just place your hand on your heart. Thank you for bringing this up. So many of us are having this, a very similar experience. And feel free to just keep your hands on your heart, Natalie, or anyone else who's having this experience right now. Because we're all having different experiences, yes, but there are definitely many that can relate to this. I just invite you just to keep holding your heart and stay present with your body. We are in a time of awakening the heart on this planet, and compassion is one of the most invaluable pieces of this awakening of the heart. And why am I even speaking about the awakening of the heart? There's something that happens, and I imagine many of you can relate to this. When we're having an experience of the heart being open, our perception of the world changes. When we have an experience of being loved or feeling safe or feeling really supported or trusting in life, these places where the heart is nourished, we see the beauty in life. We see the joy in life. We see the magic in life. And if we're having an experience where we're not feeling those things, we're not feeling safe, we're not feeling trusting, we're not feeling supported, we see the world through very different eyes. I was sharing this recently with a friend how, there's this experience many of us can relate to where you can look at your romantic partner, whether you have one now or have had one in the past, or you find yourself in this situation in the future. You can look at your romantic partner and your heart is open. There's connection there, and you just feel so much love, and they're so attractive to you. You just want to devour them, and you just want to be near them, and you just look at them, and you're like, ooh, you are so fine. And then they do something, and you feel hurt by their actions. They look very different. They do not look as attractive. You do not feel that same magnetism. Maybe you don't even really want to be around them. Maybe you start to point out all of their flaws in your mind or to them. And it's not that that person is all of a sudden a different person. It's the experience that we're having that changes our perception. I feel open. I feel closed. My perception of the world is beautiful and wonderful and everything's great. My perception of the world is people are mean and bad and inconsiderate. So I'm sharing this partially because compassion is key. There has been so much loss for so many. We've all lost things in different ways. We've had to really get out of our comfort zone. So many of the things that we've used to feel connection or to feel peace or to feel okay, they're not available to us, or at least not in the same ways that they were before. Money struggles, so many different things. So we start with compassion. Oh, Selena, my dearest Selena, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. This has just been so difficult, and I just love you. I love you, and I'm right here. And for some of us here, you might find this silly or think that this is not worth your time to do something like that. But you would be amazed if you found a smidge of authenticity, put your hand on your heart and said those things to yourself with a smidge of authenticity, what might start to shift inside of you. Because so many of us are having an experience during this pandemic where all of these things are stacking inside. There's a loss of work. There's a loss of feeling free. There's a loss of, feeling motivation or inspired, and all of these things just keep stacking up inside. Mental things, like the thoughts that you're thinking about the world, emotions that you're feeling, and then the physical realities that we're dealing with. They all start to stack up inside. And if I'm not holding myself in a place of compassion, if I'm not finding different tools and techniques to help me unstack the Jenga of my inner world, then it just sometimes feels like I'm crumbling. Maybe we feel really overwhelmed. We feel hopeless. So one of the ways that we can start to eventually access more hope, maybe sooner than later, or to be able to feel more freedom, or to be able to feel connected to the possibility of the future, is to start to tend to what we're carrying. And there are many ways we can do this. For example, maybe it means just sitting with yourself. Many of you know I have a technique on here. It's labeled the self-soothing practice on the recordings of the app, and we do this live from time to time. And the self-soothing practice is a technique that is all about just being able to feel the uncomfortable emotions without distracting, numbing, ignoring, just to feel them. So if anyone isn't familiar with this and you're looking for a way to kind of healthily navigate your emotions and not let that stacking keep happening inside, I highly, highly encourage, warmly welcome you to check out the self-soothing practice that I have a recording of here on the app. So how can you tend to your emotions? The more calm my emotions are, the more clarity I have mentally, right? If I'm really stirred up emotionally, if I'm really triggered, my mind is looking for stories to justify those emotional experiences, those responses. And before I know it, I can get pretty lost. So find ways to tend to your emotions. Move your body. This is so important. We must move the body for the physical health, but also for our emotional health and mental clarity, our mental health. So move your body, find ways to tend to your emotions, and then also find what's happening in your mind. I'll just touch on this briefly, and then we'll come to another question because I know I can get long-winded. I want to make sure that we have some time to check in with everyone here who has something they want to talk about. What is happening in the mind? I can't tell you how many times I've caught myself in a loop of a story or a narrative or a thought that was making me feel miserable. And this is what happens when things feel scary. Because we have a survival brain for the most part. Our brain is, sussing things out to make sure that we survive. And this also translates to our sense of emotional safety. We're sussing things out. Oh, maybe I don't want to do that or do that because I don't want to get hurt. So we can get hooked in these loops of negative thinking or worst case scenario thinking, doomsday thinking. We can just get, or maybe it's just one thought about something painful you're experiencing, and we get caught in it. This is, again, where compassion is so important. Rather than like, oh, I'm doing that thing with my mind, be like, oh my goodness, I feel you, I love you, I'm so sorry. This is just rough. It's like we're all, I say this sometimes, we're all like big toddlers. Sometimes we really just need a hug or the ability to vent or a nap or food, really, right? So check your mind. Check your mind. So many times I've, been, it's like a beautiful day outside. Maybe I don't have everything I want in my life. Who does? That's part of the beauty of life. We're always getting a chance to create. So let's say that maybe things are really not going the way that I want them to, but it's a beautiful day. Maybe I have my health, or maybe I have someone to go home to, or maybe I have a cat or a dog. That's a someone. Maybe I have some beautiful things in my life, but I'm so caught in this one painful thought about something that I think is wrong or some loss I've experienced that I'm missing out on the rest. So, how do we hold it all? How do we hold compassion for this part of us that is hurting and challenged? And then, how do we check our minds to make sure our minds are not keeping us stuck in the past and the woe of what has happened, or getting caught in the future and the fear of if things don't go the way we want them to, or what many of us do, keep, playing out worst case scenarios again and again. So how do we tend to our bodies, emotions, and minds? And if we're in a space for it, nourish your heart, nourish your mind with gratitude. Yes, maybe this is gone and this is missing and this isn't the way you want it. But let's just take one moment to see if we can find some gratitude for that one thing we do have or the 10 things we do have. And if it's really forced and you can't feel the gratitude, that's a good day just to hold your heart and say, this sucks, and I'm sorry, and I love you. So Natalie, I hope that helps in some way. I'm going to see if I can get back through to the comments. It looks like you did say something after you shared. I love the self-soothing practice. Oh, beautiful. Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for feeling that courage to be vulnerable here. It's not easy, but whenever we're vulnerable, it's really a gift because we're never the only person having that experience, whatever the things we're talking about. So thank you for sharing your beautiful heart, and I love you, and I'm just giving you a big, big hug. And of course, there are a lot of practical tips that I could give you, like eating well and getting a good night of sleep regularly and reaching out to people, even if you can't see them physically, FaceTime or video call. Or, there are a lot of practical things that we can speak about, but I think those things are a little easier to find if, you're looking for the answers online or something. So thank you again for bringing that. Okay, here we go. We're going to go back to the comments. All right. Cindy's sharing how to be motivated again. Oh, this is great. I led a workshop on this last week. We were looking at the why, and I'm going to do my best, friends, to answer the questions I can that I can more concisely, so that we have time for everyone's. But Cindy, or anyone who's kind of like, how do I get motivated again? There are some fantastic exercises that take you into, maybe I'll offer a workshop on here at some point, and we can do that too. But what is your why? What is the reason that you get out of bed in the morning? What is the reason that you do the things that you do in life that you care about? And if you're looking for maybe a little exercise that can be helpful, you can write down on a piece of paper. You can have like two different sections. And on the first section, write down all of the things that you strongly dislike. I'm not using the H word anymore. The word hate has an energy. And when we say things like, oh, I hate this or I hate that, that energy is in our field. It's in our throat chakra. You can really feel it here. If you say the word hate, it's like there's this density in the throat chakra. So write down the things that you really strongly dislike. Yeah, and Cindy, I would also say, for many of us, when we're feeling a lack of motivation, we're also not feeling connected to ourselves. And especially for those of us who are artists in one way or the other, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves quite often. Pressure to produce our art. And some of us have the added pressure of people have to like what I produce because I'm creating it so that people will like it. So there's also a deeper layer here of how can I get more connected with myself? What allows me to feel connected to life? And for many of us, that actually just means feeling the shame that we're carrying, or feeling the anger that we're carrying about something, or feeling the sadness that we're carrying about something. So many of us start to feel disconnected from life when we check out and don't want to deal with maybe uncomfortable emotions, or maybe there's an uncomfortable situation in your life that you're having a challenging time navigating. And so when we cut that off, trying to just like make it through the day and not deal with it, we're also cutting off that sense of being in our own wholeness and our aliveness. So again, the self-soothing practice, or anything that will allow you to journey inward, to say, okay, what am I holding on to that's keeping me from feeling whole inside of me? Because you already are whole. Each of us are whole. There's not something that will make you whole, but there might be something we're holding on to that is keeping us feeling disconnected from ourselves. So coming back to the exercise that I was sharing before that, write down all of the things you really strongly dislike. Yeah, I mean, like you really dislike. And take your time, just, let your mind flow. And then in the second part, the other piece of paper, write down everything you love, like the things that you absolutely love the most in the world. And then look on those two lists. Many of us think that, our purpose is like a thing or a career, but some purpose is more of an energy, and then it can be channeled into specific things if we wish. So, and we often think that our sense of purpose is rooted in like the beauty of the world, or, nice things, or whatever however you want to label it. But so often our sense of purpose is actually rooted in the things we dislike. It's that deep, deep passion in our heart to see people loved and cared for equally that causes us to want to do something, or wake up out of our sleepiness or our auto mode autopilot mode, you know? So it could be something we really dislike, it could be something we love, but take your time to write down those two lists. Everything you really strongly dislike, everything you really, really love, and then see all of those things and then ask yourself, what here in these lists gives me a sense of motivation to do what I'm doing, to make me want to do it? And if you're in that place where you just don't feel anything, you look at that piece of paper and you're just like, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. That's an invitation to go inside. That's when there's an opportunity to say, okay, maybe there's something happening in here that I haven't given my attention to. And if I want to feel free, if I want to feel joy again, if I want to feel juicy and sensual and alive again, then I need to start by accessing the emotions that I'm covering because they were painful. So we could go, we could spend the entire time and days on any of these sharings or questions. So I hope that maybe sparks some awareness for you and what you might do for yourself. Okay. Brad, what are some ways to release the fear of being hurt when opening your heart to others? Oh, what a good question. Hmm. It's deep because sometimes we need to work with our belief systems and the stories that we carry. Sometimes our stories are conscious, right? Sometimes, it's like very clear, like, oh, when I was this age, I got hurt in a relationship, and ever since then, I've been carrying this story that people will hurt me like that person did. But sometimes it's much deeper than that, and totally, totally something we're unaware of, subconscious. Many of us have the experience in our lives. I think probably every human being has this, at least some little version of it. And it's it's the experience of, this often happens very young, but it can happen in an older age as well, where we have something happen and our mind says, makes a declaration. And in the moment, we don't realize we're making a declaration, but we unconsciously live the rest of our lives with that declaration. So, for example, let's say you're 5 years old, and 5-year-olds are very, very wise, but they're not so emotionally developed, right? So, you're 5 years old, and somebody doesn't want to share their toy with you, and you feel really hurt, and you say to yourself, I'm never gonna share my toys again. Or you say to yourself, maybe this is a better example for many of us, you say to yourself, I'm never gonna ask for somebody's toy again. Right? Can you see where this could go as an adult? I'm never gonna open myself to connecting with someone else again. I'm never gonna make myself vulnerable enough to say what I want or need again. So we have these kind of unconscious ways of behaving from declarations that we made often at a very young age and flippantly. We didn't even realize we were doing that. So when I say it's deep, it's because sometimes, there's beliefs, our conditioning, these other things that are in the way. But in the moment, how to work with letting our heart be more open when there's the fear of being hurt. Get present. Get present. Because if we're in the fear of hurt, where are we? Brad, where are we? If I'm living in the fear of being hurt, where am I? You tell me. Where am I if I'm in the fear of being hurt? I'm going to wait till I see the chat pop through. Things are very, very slow over here. Okay. Well, I'm seeing lots of other comments popping through, so I think we probably all get the idea. Yeah, I know you. It's for the past or the future, right? If I come into, possibly dating somebody new and I'm living in the fear of being hurt, I'm not here now. I'm either holding on to the past and recreating it in my mind, maybe remembering what happened or how much I went through, or the future. So, what can you do to become more present? Like right now, what could you do to bring yourself into the present? For some of us, exercising helps to turn off the mind and bring us more into the present. Sometimes mindfulness exercises or meditating helps to bring us more into the present. And this is the muscle that, when you train this muscle, it absolutely benefits every aspect of life. So that would be the first thing I would look at. How can I develop greater presence? And then, it's not like a black or white or like an easy, quick fix answer. It's an ongoing journey of the heart. Maybe it means being open with your communication with the new person. Wow, I'm really loving spending time with you, and I'm aware that it's intense for me or it's vulnerable for me. And you don't even need to go into the because I've been hurt in the past, because then we're there we are. We're in this new possibility and we're already bringing the past in and tainting it. It's okay. We do that. We don't need to judge ourselves for it. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Our minds take us everywhere, but we can be conscious in our communication. And I also invite each of us to look at this, and this goes for every area of your life. What are you speaking into existence with your communication? Are you saying things like, oh, but this thing happened to me so many times? Or it's just hard for me? Or he's never going to change, she's never going to change. Start to become acutely aware of what you are speaking into your reality. And if you find yourself saying something that doesn't make you feel good, see there's an opportunity to check yourself. Now, of course, if you're in therapy or we're in a one-on-one session or, whatever, you're venting to a friend, okay, that's one thing. It's energy moving, right? It's letting go. But if you find yourself speaking aloud or mentally telling the same story that for you is painful, that's an opportunity to become aware of what you're creating. And you might say, well, Selena, this happened to me. I'm not creating it. And I would say, yes, absolutely. You had that experience. Or maybe you're concerned about having an experience. But every time you speak it or get caught thinking about it ongoingly, you are doing it to yourself. Every time you speak about something painful that you don't want to have happen or that did happen, you are doing that to yourself again. And again, this doesn't mean positive vibes only. This doesn't mean only speak positively. There are times and spaces for us to release. And we got to check our habits. So, and maybe Brad, maybe for you, you were asking like, okay, well, I want to start dating again, or I want to be open, but maybe you haven't even gone on a date. Maybe for you, you're still in just the desires there. So then you can start working within yourself. We have our self-love affirmations. There are so many wonderful talks and meditations here on the app from different creators that really bring us back home to ourselves. Because the more I'm in love with myself, the more I'm filling myself with my own love. So there's no one way here, and I could go on and on, but I just kind of want to recap some of these things a little bit here. And I'm not going to go in an order that we just spoke about it. Self-love. And I mean like actual ways that you feel more filled up with your own love And for many of us, that's very awkward and foreign, so we need to explore it. That's why I have, a handful of talks and meditations specifically on self-love here, because we need support learning this stuff. I sure did. So self-love, practices and techniques that help you bring your awareness into the present moment, checking your mind and checking your speech. What am I telling myself about my reality? And what am I bringing into existence with my words? Compassion, compassion, compassion. Oh, wow, I feel that pain in my heart. I feel that fear in my heart. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with me. I do this. I rub my heart. And I'm just like, it's okay. It's okay. You're okay. You're okay. You're okay. Just like the way you would a child, holding. It's okay. Do that with yourself. It's okay. So then you're filling yourself up. You're becoming aware of what you're creating in your reality. You're acknowledging that it's okay to feel this fear. Practice being open. If you are dating someone, practice having open, healthy communication. You don't have to drop everything on the table in the first few dates, but it's healthy. It's healthy to be open and transparent to a certain degree. Yeah. So I hope those thoughts support you in your journey. Please let me know if anything, um, if you have any questions or if you feel like you want some more support there. Please feel free to reach out. Okay, where are we going next? Going back to the chats. Hi, just want to say hi to everyone. Thank you for being here. Okay. I see Susan's comment here. It's so lovely to actually see you. I listen to your sleep affirmations frequently when I wake in the middle of the night and the music conditions my mind chatter to doze off. Oh, beautiful. Hi, Susan. So lovely to be together. So beautiful. Okay. I think Johnny is next. Oh, maybe D is next. Hold on. Nope. Where are we going here? Nope. Nope. There's one more before you. Sorry, friends. I'm making my way back here to this slow moving chat. Okay. My beloved, I am still not sure how to pronounce your name. Please feel free to phonetically drop it in the chat for me. Rocio, I would love to know how to pronounce your name. Oh, and here, the chat just disappeared, so I got to come back to your question. Okay, you have shared, I cried a lot and still crying while meditating. How do I move forward and feel the love my heart is being holding for so long? Oh. Well, I feel like I think I saw you drop something in the chat just a moment ago about how this is helpful to be more kind with yourself. Sometimes when the tears are coming regularly like that, it's because it's the only place where we're finding that sense of release. Like maybe our whole lives we're just kind of holding it together and then we slow down enough to take the time to meditate and there's that release. Sometimes it's the mind again. Yeah. Sometimes when we finally slow down, I get this really bizarre plant rash. It's not poison oak or poison ivy. It's some other photosynthesis something. Anyway, sometimes it is the mind. Sometimes we stop and we don't have all the distractions we're usually doing. But if we become aware, the mind is telling us all of these sad stories. And we realize that that's kind of going on all the time. But when we slow down to meditate, we become more aware of it. So, and those are just a couple of the possibilities of why we might find ourselves crying. Sometimes it's Crying is a really powerful way to release stress. If I'm not mistaken, studies have actually even shown that the physical tears can release cortisol, which is one of the stress hormones the body creates. So crying is a beautiful stress reliever. So maybe it's just how your body is releasing stress. Many people, when they meditate, one of the gifts is that there is this release of stress that happens in the body. So it could be any of those things. And I would say, please feel free to reach out to me in DM if you want to kind of go further on this together. If there's anything you want to share, maybe more personally, not in the group chat, that might give me insight to know how to answer your question better. But I do hope that helped you for now. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I love you and your beautiful, tender heart. Tears can be so healing, so healing. And they're not always connected to sadness. I know some of you cry when you get angry. It's okay. It's how that energy moves when we get stuck in it. All right. I think maybe D was next. I am opening my heart and my house to a kitten. Oh, beautiful. Oh, wonderful. Lifelong dog person getting a cat too. Oh, wonderful. Enjoy, Dee. Johnny, I be started to write what I'm calling. Oh, your comment just disappeared. Sometimes when chats come in, I'm trying to hold the comment bar in place and it just slides away. Okay. Okay, so Johnny was writing some sudden poetry. When I find I'm really getting disturbed by something, I write it out. Just write. Don't question it. Put the frustration down. Beautiful. Oh, your comment disappeared again, but excellent. Yeah, find a release, whatever works for you, my friends. Writing, moving your body, breathing, meditating, laughing, anything. Nature, of course, is one of the best ways to have a shift in what we're experiencing. I'm trying to get back to your comment, Johnny. I think that was the last part. Yeah, it's helping you. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Gloria, I just got on severely depressed, and hearing this came from God. Oh, beautiful, my love. Yeah, sometimes depression is a chemical imbalance. And for many, especially with what's happening, what we're dealing with in our lives, for most of us, depression is that stacking, it's that unfelt emotion inside. And we feel totally disconnected from life and we can feel hopeless. And finding ways to feel those painful emotions is actually our access point to feeling alive again. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. I love you. Okay. We still have a few more minutes. I think my dear Richard is next. Maybe. Trying to come back. Okay, great. All right, Richard, let's see what your comment said. I'm making my way back. While I'm learning to know myself at the soul level, I find that loop is like a deck of cards I've rebuilt. The only good thing is I know I do that. I pause and place a hand on myself. Compassion to be vulnerable leads me back to my heart. My why today is to live with softness, with a softness. Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. I love your way with words always. And for anyone who's not part of our group here on the app, come join us if you wish. Love heals all. Richard and many of you here post often or from time to time. It's just such a gift to be connected there. Okay. Rocio. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so grateful. Rocio. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Let's see. We probably have time for one more, maybe two more. Hola. Hi, my dear. Self-love mirror exercises are helpful for me. At the beginning, I was crying a lot and it got easier. It helps me to come back and ground. Beautiful. Yes. So if anyone's unfamiliar with this, the way I really like to do this is to go in the mirror and look directly into your eyes. And this may be very uncomfortable. You might have to look away and look back, but look into your beautiful eyes. And maybe you just need to start with that, just breathing and looking into your eyes. And breathe and just feel what's coming up. And then maybe say 3 things to yourself, or maybe just start with 1 if it's really difficult, that you like about yourself. I love your heart. I'm grateful for you for this. I'm grateful for you for that. And make sure you're really looking into your eyes and speaking to yourself in the mirror. Thanks, Ola. Pauline shared, been crying earlier today, and you've enabled me to blank. What's your blank, my love? Loredana, beautiful. Hi, Selena. What are some ways to become more present in our day-to-day life? I meditate and do yoga, also breathing exercises mornings and evenings, but I'd love to become more present throughout the day. I get so caught up with work that I forget to be a person, totally. Grew up in a workaholic family and struggling to change that pattern. Let go of guilt, perfectionism, anxiety. Yes, 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 my love. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, great. So there are many things you can do. One thing, grab your phone right now or gently take your phone. You don't have to grab it. And go into your settings and set an alarm for maybe like 8 hours in your day. Set an alarm. Maybe it's a vibrate alarm or just a pretty little ding or something. It doesn't have to be too distracting, but set an alarm that you'll become aware of and set it for once an hour for 8 hours. So maybe you get up at 7 and your first alarm is set for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for 8 hours. Maybe on the hour or something, or on the half an hour. Set an alarm. And each time you hear that alarm, pause for 60 seconds. No matter what you're doing, unless you're like driving or cooking or holding a baby, stop what you're doing. Even if you're holding a baby, you can do this. Ideally with nothing in your arms, but it could be anything. Close your eyes. And for 60 seconds, do nothing. And just feel your body breathing. And you may wish to slow your breathing down and lengthen the breath. For 60 seconds, just pay attention to how you feel. That's only 1 minute an hour. 1 minute. Slow down. Something else you can do, if you find yourself in that tense place while you're doing what you need to be doing. Here I am typing. I stop. I realize I'm in that energy. I feel tense. I relax my hands down. I take a deep breath. I consciously relax my shoulders. Maybe I look around for a moment, remind myself that I am a person, that I'm alive, that I'm not just a head. Another great thing, if you missed the beginning, we did the centering technique. And the centering technique, you can do it all day long, as many times as you like, and it will just bring you back to center again and again and again, and it takes like a minute. You inhale, straight arm, and exhale, and you inhale and exhale, and you go slowly and slowly. So slow inhalation, slow exhalation. You do it 3 or 4 times, alternating sides. The last thing I'll share to help as just kind of like a in the middle of the day mindfulness tool. Go ahead and take something in your hand. For many of us, we have our phone by us all of the time, or maybe you have a glass of water or something like this. Maybe have chapstick or something else, lip balm, something, that you can hold, and just hold it in your hand for a moment. Everyone, go ahead and try this with me. Don't try to drink what it was in case it wasn't drinkable. Hold the object in your hand and just feel it. Take a moment to really feel what you're holding in your hand. Feel the weight, texture, temperature. And now look at it. And just let your mind be open and curious for a moment. And just look at it like you've never seen it before. You don't know what it is. Look at the shapes. Look at the textures. You can move it around so you can see it from different angles. Texture, colors, shades of light. And just let your mind be relaxed. Let your eyes kind of just look at this object without needing to describe it for a moment. Take a couple of slow, deep breaths in and out. Feel it in your hand. Really feel the object in your hand. Get in your body. Great. And put it down. Thank you. All right. We'll take one more and then we'll complete. Susan's saying, you live in Hawaii. Do you have the Australian shrub tree bottle brush they grow in hot places and people are often allergic to? Maybe. I was at a nursery, a plant nursery the other day, so who knows what I rubbed up against. Okay, so Jacqueline, I think Jacqueline has a question here, and we're going to take Jacqueline's as the last one. Selena, are you able to receive private messages? I sent you one a few weeks back, and I'm not sure if you received it. I made my way to the, oh, beautiful. Oops. Jacqueline was sharing that she came to the Global Unity Gathering that we had with my beloved teacher, Saima. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Normally I'm able to receive them. It might have, I was in a few week period of traveling and moving. So it's possible that it kind of got lost in the mix, but I'll definitely go back and find it. And please feel free to send me another message so it comes to the top if it didn't just get missed. Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, I love that so much. Oh, so beautiful. Oh, oh, love it. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, that was a personal question. Um, so I think Pauline sharing, yes, pointed to depression, but I didn't remember all I learned from IT. Okay. Okay. So I think, Ananya. Ananya? Is that how I pronounce it? Lovely. Selena, this will be our last question, my friends. When negative emotions start coming, what do you do to slow them down? This happened to me today, and I had to lie down and do one of your, oh, that just disappeared. And I had to lie down and do one of your meditations, but sometimes this isn't feasible. To slow them down. So my interpretation or my kind of sense is that if you're having an experience of needing to slow the intense emotions down, and I'd love for anyone who wants to take this on with me, sometimes I'll reference things like negative or positive for the sake of, understanding our kind of mainstream way of thinking about things. But let's not label these emotions as negative. They're intense, they can be uncomfortable, but they're not bad. They're not negative at all. They're not negative. They're just an experience. So what I hear is that you're having an experience of getting really triggered. You're having an experience of emotions coming so intensely that maybe you're having a bit of a nervous system response. Maybe your nervous system is just shocked into like fight or flight or freeze. And so it just feels absolutely intense or overwhelming. So, and yes, sometimes we can't just lie down, right? We have to navigate it in the moment. So, our ever-present superpower that we always have with us is the breath. When we breathe in deeply and then exhale slowly and completely, we take the nervous system from that fight or flight response into the rest and digest response or the relaxation response. So, really, if the only thing you can do is start to focus on your breathing, you could take a deep breath in and really see if you can find that belly breathing. Because if we're just going, then we start to, maybe hyperventilate, and before we know it, we're feeling even more anxious or intense. So, can you relax your belly enough to take a deep, slow breath in? And sometimes we need to do this a few times because there's so much emotion, it's difficult at first. Take a deep breath in, and maybe you hold the breath for a moment. Just let it all be there. Just hold your breath for a moment. Just let all those feelings be there. And then exhale through your nose very slowly and completely. So the idea here is that even if, often when we're really upset, the first thing to shift is the breath. It becomes shallow, it becomes tight, we start to hold it unconsciously. So we really train the bodies and the body and the mind in this moment to turn on the relaxation response in the nervous system. We're going to activate the vagus nerve through our deep breathing, which will in turn turn the relaxation response on. So the exhalation is long and slow until you kind of feel like all of the air has been expelled. And then you take another slow, deep breath in, hold the breath for a moment. You can have your eyes open, you don't have to have them closed like I am. And then you exhale slowly and really consciously. Sometimes, if you're not able to lie down or do something else supports you, place a hand on your heart, a hand on your belly. Sometimes you need to step away for just a moment. And let's say you're in like a conversation with someone and you feel like, oh, well, I can't just step away. I'm right in the conversation. You feel that emotion building, 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 building. If it gets to the point where you feel like you can't think clearly, that's the time you really need to make sure you excuse yourself. Because if you don't excuse yourself, that's not going to go very well, right? You're not thinking clearly. You're in a stress response in your nervous system. Emotions are going to start doing things for you. A lack of awareness, really. Yeah. So if you feel that building happening and you're in a conversation with somebody else, even if it seems awkward or untimely, you say, please excuse me. Maybe you don't feel like saying please. That's okay. You say, I need to excuse myself for 5 minutes. I'll be back. And then you step away for 5 minutes and you breathe. And maybe you just go cry in the other room. Maybe you just put your hand on your heart and scream. Sometimes we just have all this emotion and it just needs to move. Sometimes we in a healthy way without hurting the body. Sometimes we've got to find ways to let the body express the emotion. Like when I get angry, sometimes I have to like just let my body tense up and squeeze, just like let it come to the surface so I'm not repressing it and depressing myself. So find a way to let that emotional energy move. Even let's say you're at work, maybe you're actually working out in the world, as many people are again, and you're having like a rough moment at work. Maybe you work in some kind of customer service or food service or something where you're always interacting. Go to the bathroom. Go to the bathroom and breathe, or go outside for your 5 minute break and just let it out. Find a way to sit with it. And I could just keep going on and on and on with these examples, but hopefully I offered enough kind of examples here for you to kind of play within your mind what you can do in those moments when you can't just lie down to feel it all. I do hope that helped, my love. Please feel free to let me know. Oh yeah, and I see you shared here. Yes, it's a lot of me jumping into the worst possible outcomes. Yeah, so that's again, we've been speaking about this a lot today. That's the mind. That's the mind. And when we get caught on that loop, the mind feeds the emotion feeds the mind, on and on and on and on and on and on. And if we don't find a way to get off of that loop, to get off of that hamster wheel, whew, we're going to go deep in it. Yeah. So I've given many examples today of how to kind of come out of that loop. So hopefully you found something that resonated with you in that. Okay, great. I see you said yes, thank you. Yes, Cindy, emotional intelligence. And I was just speaking, I speak on this often actually, because I don't know, maybe this is where we're going with some of our teachings together, but we have so much education, so much intellectual education, academic education, physical education, but the number one driving force for most human beings is emotion, and we have the least amount of education there. And this is so important because when we harness emotional energy, it's kind of like we harness the movement of our lives. Emotion, energy in motion. Okay, beloveds, we are at time. We've gone over a few minutes. Thank you. Thank you for your presence, Mila. See you maybe tomorrow for yoga asana. For anyone who would like to join, tomorrow we're having our yoga asana practice. For many, that will just mean yoga. We'll have an intermediate level uh, vinyasa flow. Beginners are welcome. The only reason I really label it intermediate is because I don't break down the cues the way that I would for a beginner session. Tomorrow, thank you, beloveds. Thank you for your donations. Thank you, thank you. Tomorrow's yoga session is at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, right here, same place. 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, we'll have an hour-long vinyasa flow session. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for your donations. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you. That's it. Thank you for supporting me so that I can take care of myself. And I think most of you know that your donations also a portion go to Insight Timer. So thank you for supporting Insight Timer, because without Insight Timer, we wouldn't be here, would we? We wouldn't know each other. What a thing to consider. I've become so close with so many of you, and I just hold you in my heart, even in the days that we're not together here on the app. We know each other because of what Insight Timer has made available to us. There's a lot of room for gratitude for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, my beloveds. Nitz, I'm not sure how you know if your donation worked. I think there have been times where it's been a little uncertain if donations have actually made it through to us. But I think in general, you can hopefully assume that it's gone through. I don't work on the IT side of things, so I don't know. Okay. Love you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Enjoy your day, your night, your rest, your waking. You can go to my profile page to find the other live events, schedule. Come join us in our group, Love Heals All, if you wish. Let's just take a final moment here together. Right, open your palms. If you can't move your body, you can imagine your palms are open. And just imagine or sense this beautiful light or warmth in your heart, your beautiful, powerful, amazing heart. The sun of light in your chest, and the light in your heart is connected to the heart of each person in our group today, creating this big circle. This golden thread moves from my heart to your heart and to someone else's heart. All of our hearts are connected in this light. And this warmth, this love, this light is pouring into our hands. We're creating this massive sphere of light together on the planet. We're all over the planet right now. So we're literally creating this sphere of light that are full of love. Oh, beautiful, my friends. It's really amplifying. Can you feel it? Take a breath. Feel, see, know this light is touching, illuminating, loving every single particle of this planet and every being on it. One love, one light. bless you, bless you in your light and life.